Hello world, welcome to the 64th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, USA. Next week will be the 65th climate change protest in Gettysburg, and that'll be at 8 a.m. on Friday. So JP Morgan came out with a report last week or the week before that got leaked out that they really expect up to a 12 degrees Celsius increase in temperature around the world before it's all said and done, which is totally uninhabitable. I mean, humans can't survive past 2, maybe 3 degrees Celsius given the loss of habitat and food. So 12 degrees is you walk outside, you're dead. This is JP Morgan / Chase, which has come up with this report. And it's really a dire report, and the world has failed to notice about it. And it's a huge amount of news. And so hopefully, hold on here, I got a problem. Hopefully, the world wakes up and the politicians wake up, since they only care about money. And this is a big bank stating this. Evidently, they have given $1.9 trillion to fossil fuel industries. All the banks have given $1.9 trillion to the fossil fuel industries for exploration and subsidies since the Paris Agreement in 2015. So it's really a sick situation that's going on there. Hopefully, we'll get our stuff together and start protesting against these kind of people, but evidently not. So the coronavirus has hit and is starting to hit full force around the world, and it's another dire situation. It's an example of what can happen in a world pandemic, and which it probably will be. But it's also an example of what will happen with climate change once it goes in full force, because you got price gouging now with the N95 mask. Hopefully you all have your own N95 mask. If you don't, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble as far as breathing and all. The aerosol, you have 90,000 people that have had the coronavirus so far that they reported. Over 3,000 have died, or close to 3,000. They say it's a 2% fatality rate, but any idiot with math abilities would know that 3,000 out of 90,000 is way more than 2%. You're talking 3.5%, 4% fatality rate. Well, for example, the flu only kills 0.1% of people that contract it. So this is many, many, many times higher as far as fatalities go. And my guess is you don't feel too good even if you do survive it. Now, the side effect of that is that you have a loss of manufacturing in China. And China makes most of the goods, or at least parts of goods, that are required to finish up whatever product you're making. So you have basically a 24% reduction in production, and 24, 25, somewhere in there, percent reduction in manufacturing around the world. Now, that comes into play with climate change in that you get a certain amount of aerosol masking effect with particulates in the air, and it reflects the sunlight back into space. So with the 25% reduction, you could end up with a 0.5 degree Celsius warming, or even a full degree Celsius warming. And it'll be interesting from a science point of view to see what happens over the course of next weeks or months as far as spike in temperature, if that occurs. That'll be a real test to see if the aerosol masking effect is really an issue or not. If the temperature does spike another 0.5 degree or a degree instantly, you're going to have severe loss of habitat and food production around the world. And this will spur us on to an even faster climate change issue, which the politicians and the media will not address until it actually happens, and they won't know what hit them. So last, I don't know when it was, Wednesday or something, or they had the Democratic debate for president on TV. And the media, of course, run by CBS, who is to blame for this one, did not ask one question about climate change, which is really sinister and almost criminal as far as they go. They ask questions over and over again that they've been asking for the last 50,000 debates. And it's really getting to be upsetting. It's way beyond getting to be upsetting. It is upsetting. And the lack of media attention and lack of public attention concerning climate change issues and taking it seriously. These candidates need to have a serious plan as to how to deal with climate change and what they're going to do on day one. And none of them do. They say, they're going to join the Paris Accord. Nice. But that doesn't set a plan in concrete as to what to do to move forward. And that's why they need to ask these type of questions and hold their feet to the fire as to what to do about it. But so far, the media is culpable with the the politicians and the political scheme and thinking that climate change is a political issue, therefore we won't ask it because it's too uncomfortable. And it's wrong-headed thinking. And it's a guarantee for suicide and murder of over 7 billion people on the planet Earth. So if you're a foreigner outside the USA, watching this video and concerned about what's going to happen with your life, you need to pay attention to the presidential election, what's happening here, and put the pressure on your friends, if you have American friends and all, to put pressure back here as to what questions to ask and who to vote for and whatnot. You got a series of candidates on the right, which is the one candidate in the Republican Party, President Trump, who's just totally thwarting any action concerning climate change. Hold on. Not only thwarting it, he's actually going backwards by advocating more exploration of fossil fuels and just general policies that are just destroying the environment. So it's a horrible situation, which is straight up murder, suicide of the whole world. And then also on the on the other side, you got the Democrats, who are Republican light in my eyes, and that the centrists, there's 4 or 5 of them who absolutely will get nothing done concerning climate change, and we're dead meat with that. And you have Bernie Sanders, who sort of gets what's going on, but he's not totally up to speed as far as reporting. He keeps saying it's an existential threat. Of course it's an existential threat. That just means a threat against humanity. No big deal, okay? We all know that. You need to go into how much time we have left, or what we need to do immediately, and things like that. And if these media people keep asking dumbass questions over and over again, they need to break away from that question and answer about climate change and bring that up as a subject over and over again. They need to start taking control of the issue. Otherwise, our children, their grandchildren, and you and me and everyone else are dead meat, okay? So you got to start holding the media to the fire. And if you know local reporters where you live, start asking them, why aren't you asking questions? Why aren't you reporting on this issue? Aren't you concerned you're going to die too, and your kids are going to die? So we need to get on top of this issue, and there's a whole series of things. People need to basically get some courage and start speaking up and quit treating it like it's a taboo issue. They talk about everything else under the sun, but they won't talk about climate change. And that is the one issue that's going to kill us all. That should be issue number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for now on, in any debate or any discussion that you're having with your family or anything like that. Yeah, you got to pay the bills, but you won't have bills to pay if you don't survive. Okay, it's got to get away from the political genre and get over into the survival issue. And this includes Republicans and Democrats, right-wing, left-wing, fascists, non-fascists, communists, liberals, tree huggers, who cares? Everyone's going to be affected equally by this. So what's happening with the coronavirus and, as far as gouging and reporting and the slight panic going on, this is a glimpse of societal breakdown is what's going to happen eventually. And this will happen under climate change, as I said. When you start losing your food and habitat, people tend to panic, okay? And then you got environmental issues with too much rain, too little rain, too much snow, no snow, all sorts of things going on with the environment. The jet stream is shredded as a result of the Arctic sea ice being shot. And now you got Antarctica coming into play. And, the situation is not looking good. And I'd like to report on some good news, which I will report on one piece of good news. Extinction Rebellion engaged for many, many months, as did the local people around Heathrow Airport and London in general, and tried to get the government to stop from expanding the 3rd runway for Heathrow Airport, which they do not need. So they did massive protests, people got arrested, things like that. They tree hugged, they didn't need to do what they needed to do, went to the courts, and the courts determined that Britain is in violation of the Paris Agreement. This is the first time a government's been cited for a violation of an agreement that was signed in Paris, concerning climate change. So hopefully it will continue around the world, and other courts will side up with, the people rather than the governments in making money. So congratulations to Extinction Rebellion and all the people that protested along the way. Wearing my Extinction Rebellion pin in honor of them, and I totally agree with their positions on everything. The media needs to tell the truth. You need to quit hiding things. You need to put boots on the ground. You need to, have a citizens' assembly as to what's going on. And we need a total change in the system as far as we're operating. Pure capitalism will get us killed now. It had its place, and yeah, oil did a wonderful job as far as being able to get us to succeed as far as producing things, but that's the very thing that's going to kill us. So you need to put boots on the ground, especially here in Gettysburg. You know, it's just me by myself. My wife's going to come out, and that's it. You know, two of us. And this is the 64th one of these things. It's no surprise that we're out here or anything. So people should be out by now. You got retirees, as I said, a local college, Gettysburg College. Kids don't come out. Kids don't protest. They think things will go along fine. And they don't realize by 2023, everyone will know someone who's profoundly affected by climate change. And I surmise by 2026, we're going to have trouble surviving, especially if Trump gets reelected. And that's not a political statement. It's an obvious fact that he will see no reasons to slow down as far as environmental issues and keep destroying the world. So, you know, you got decisions to make as to how you want to go here, folks. You know, whether you're right wing, left wing, it doesn't matter. This is a survival issue. And you need to get out your little trees, both sides, Democrats and Republicans. Quit worrying about winning and vote for the person who's actually going to help us to survive. If you aren't in a panic by now, you do not understand what's happening. Okay? Coronavirus, that's good. You should be panicked. But panicking about climate change should be your top priority at this point. And panic requires after that action. Okay, so you need to actually do things. You need to get brave. You need to have courage. You need to actually stand out here and be willing to be ridiculed until people realize that you're actually speaking the truth and they have been duped. So next protest will be next Friday, March 6th at 8 a.m. Hope to see someone out here by then, and doubtful that I will. See you later. Bye.